So, this is Big D and Shade from Saiyuki Anime, and today we're going to be talking about our first impressions for the summer season of 2017.
Yeah. It's been an interesting season, I have to admit.
Yes, a season of a lot of brand new IPs as far as anime goes, and there are a few seasons, a few shows that carried it over. But we are going to be talking about 11 shows today. And the first show we're going to be talking about is Centaur Worries. Or Centaur Life.
Centaur Life. Yeah, Centaur Life. You had to start with this one, didn't you? You just had to start with this one. It's almost like you're rubbing it in. Just be how bad. This is how bad. This is no. We had our tribulations and our skepticism about this series, considering the makers of it and how we've had not the greatest luck with shows from this production company. And sure enough, they still don't disappoint. It's just all over the place. The first episode, I was just so abashed by they literally throw you into it.
Yep.
You know, this is a slice of life. When you go into a slice of life, there's a certain pacing that is you're expecting. It's a relaxed, slowed down, taking it easy, because it's a slice of life. It's life, essentially. So, you know, you'll get to the crazy hectic moments later on, but when you first ease into it's literally you're easing into it. You're easing into somebody's life. And this, they just threw you into the deep end of the pool and told you to swim. And it's just like, why? What is wrong with this company and its pacing of its shows? I don't get it. I really don't. I'm trying so hard to figure this out, but it just doesn't make sense. What is their deal? I mean, am I wrong? I'm trying so hard to figure this out.
No, it's like the very first show from Emon Studios that I watched. It was Spirit Pact, I think. I went in not knowing anything about the studio, and every event that they went through, I was absolutely confused about what was going on. I'm like, they haven't explained this. They haven't explained the world. They're making a bunch of silly jokes. I didn't like the show because I felt like I was getting left behind. With the show the second show that we watched from them was, there was the zombie one, the dude trapped in the video game.
Yeah. And that was the one where I watched it.
Yeah.
But it was the literally it was one of those 15-minute ones. The episodes were like super short. And again, it's one of those that left you going here going, I don't get it. What is going on? Why are we doing this? Why are people in here? What? And then here we go.
Yeah, and with this one, they start like it's an episode that you would normally build up to. You would introduce the characters. You're like, oh, this is the person who likes this. This is the person who likes that. This is the clumsy person. This is the person who's like strict and like the student council, maybe student council president, and she's also the head of the classroom. But they kind of throw you right, like they're about to have a play, and they throw you right in the episode like hours before the play starts. And everybody's all chummy and all like, hey, blah, 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 and doing all these inside jokes. And, of course, you feel left out because the show just started 5 minutes ago. So
and you're like, what the hell's going on? Why are we here? What is this? You know, and it's like they've created a world, obviously, because it's very similar to our world, but it's very different. And it isn't until the second half of the episode that they even bother to even come up with an explanation as to why people are the way they are, you know? Mm-hmm. And then it's like every episode after that, they give you just a little bit more. But we keep going back. We keep doing other things. We keep going around, and you're like, can you just... But see, I don't know. To me, did it seem like their explanation was kind of roughshod into it?
I've only seen the first... Oh, where they're like...
It's just because of evolution, and this is how people evolved.
They're like, we didn't evolve this way. We evolved that way. And everybody's the same no matter what. I was confused.
See? And it seems like they created the world and they didn't know how to explain it. So they threw something in there. They're like, you know what? This works. We're just going to explain it this way and we're going to move on.
Yeah. It's
And like
weird.
literally the only thing that they're doing after this and every episode to even come close to explaining is talking about discrimination that each race, that each, species, I guess. It's hard to explain what, because you got the people with the halos and the wings, and you got the people with the tails and the wings, and you got people who are centaurs, and you got, these other people. So they each episode, it seems like they're explaining like a little bit more about discrimination and how there was like huge wars in the past with dealing with this. And that's literally all they're doing. And then it's just these girls going about their life.
Yeah,
And I'm just, I can't. I watched 2 episodes of it, and I can't bring myself to watch anymore. I can't. Because I'm just like, you're not, at one point, I again, it seems to be just like the last anime I watched from them. I get that I see a glimmer of hope that it could be good, because on the one hand, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They've created this world. It's an interesting world. It's a different world. On the other hand, I get nothing from it.
Yeah.
And we're just supposed to accept it. Now, I know anime being anime. I've watched enough. There have been times in the past where anime just basically did just that and threw you into something and expected you to just follow along with the story and whatnot. But, 2 things about that. One, this is slice of life, like we were saying. You're not supposed to do that with slice of life. Slice of life, it's a life. You're supposed to just ease into it. You'll have your peak moments every now and then where drama will hit. But beyond that, you're literally just enjoying the ride, essentially.
Yeah.
And then 2, anime has evolved since the time frame where we just willingly accepted that shit was going down and we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was back in the days of like Akira and stuff like that.
Yeah, the 80s and 90s where you could just do stuff just because.
Just because. We've evolved since then. Anime should not be doing that. You should not be just expecting your viewers to just accept it without giving any explanation whatsoever. So I can't, as much as I would like, the artwork is great.
Yeah. The characters are interesting.
No,
I like the way that they look. I love that the Centaur character, she's not like a super duper well endowed character, and like the reason why she has her arms folded is to keep her chest up. Like I like how most of the episode it was hot outside and she was just had her jacket folded over her arms. And I'm like, little things like that I really like. It's just there's certain things about the character. It was like there's certain things about the characters that they'll do certain things, but I don't like they haven't earned that. So for them to act in that way, I don't.
Well, see, and that just goes back to how their pacing in this and their lack of explanation is literally killing the show.
Yeah, because the usual way to do it is the way that they did the first episode, like with cliffhangers and like all the cliches and everything. This is the way I would have done the first episode. I would have probably done the explanation of the races and stuff like that first, or maybe second. Then the way that the play goes, that's episode 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah.
I would have done the prep for it and everything, and I would have done the her about to fall off of that statue thing and about to get hurt. That would be the cliffhanger. I would cut basically I would do all of the prep up to the thing would crack, I would do the intro, and then I would explain the races, and then I would start somewhere like days and days, like weeks ahead, like weeks back. And I would slowly lead up to the play to where you would kind of forget that she was about to get hurt. And then you would actually get to know the characters. Like, I don't know where any of these people live.
Nope.
From the first episode. And
you haven't met any of their families.
Yeah.
You literally are only seeing them at school, and that's it.
Yeah. And then like all the backstory and stuff like that, it's nice how they sprinkled it in and everything. It's just the structure of the show. Like, if they'd have done it like that, like a lot of other shows do, then I would be totally on board for this show, because the characters, the character designs are good. The characters are interesting. Like, it's a good show. It's just, it's structured so weird that I'm getting left behind with like a lot of Emon shows. So
yeah. Well, and it's just, as far as like the first episode had gone, I'd have gone, do your typical, like, who hasn't watched at least 1 or 2 school animes or whatever? They're rampant. They're all over the place. But do the typical thing, okay? But see, obviously, it'll be the typical thing, but it won't be the typical thing because now we're dealing with a centaur. So since she's kind of the main focus, I mean, hell, it's centaur worry, centaur life, essentially.
Yeah.
So she's kind of the main focus. So let's follow her. You know, it should have been, let's see what happens when she wakes up in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and have it look like it's something normal, like, oh, she's waking up in the morning, and then you realize because she's a centaur, she has to take special precautions or do different things differently.
Yes.
And then, you know, she's going downstairs to go have breakfast, and then, but like the way she goes downstairs is different, or the way the house is structured is different because they're centaurs and they need it differently.
Yeah,
you know?
and like one thing that could be really cool about that is because they're centaurs and stairs would be an issue. The stereotype in school anime is like the main character wakes up upstairs.
Yeah.
What about make their house a one floor? I don't think that's usual in the Japanese culture because there's not a lot of space, so they build everything small and tall.
Yeah. So I mean, you could do that, or you could even do like instead of stairs, maybe the ramps inside their house.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be fine, you know. So, but see, like each of these little things would allow you to know and understand the world that you are in that much better. And yet they do none of that, and it kills it for me, you know. And that was the thing that I had the most interest in the last anime I watched dealing with like monster girls and stuff like that. It was our world, so at least they had some basis there. And you just had monster girls in it, but they explained it, and they even didn't do like the stereotypical per se. They tried to go off basis and go, this is how we're different, and I appreciated that because it brought new light to it and it brought a new feel to it and it made it interesting. At this point, we know absolutely nothing about. You know, we know supposedly how they became to be, but we know absolutely nothing about their life, what they have to do. What's different about, you know, as far as is it just their appearance is different, or does it have anything extra added to it? You know, it's like nothing, literally. And it just infuriates me to no end because, again, just like with the last one I watched, I see so much potential that you could do so much with it, and they just kill it. So, anyways.
Yeah, it's another missed opportunity from this studio. I will, like, this show has been the best from the stuff that I've seen from this studio. So if they come out with another one, I'm gonna check it out. If it starts trending downhill, like like it was, then I'll probably drop this studio. But they're getting there. Like, this is only the third show that we've seen from them. So yeah,
I'm gonna be weary of them from now on, and just be very, very weary of them.
All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is Boku no Hero Academia Season 2.
Yes. I know this was not one of the shows that we had talked about during our preseason discussion as far as that goes, but during my time frame watching all the other animes that I was watching, I kept coming across the My Hero Academia, and everyone's like, oh my god, My Hero. I'm like, you know what? I got to watch it. I got to see what's going on. I got to see what the hype is and everything, and just wow, this is an amazing show.
You were interested when it started for the very first time. One, because it was Bones, and then two, because of the comic book style. Like, when season 1 first came out, I jumped on it and loved it, and I was like, oh my god, you gotta watch it. So I'm glad that you finally got around to it.
Yes, I finally got around to it, and I'm current on season 2, still going, and it's getting better and better. The overall story is just it grabs you and it captivates you, and it's something I think that a lot of people can honestly relate to because it's an underdog story.
Yep.
You know, it's taking the place of somebody who has a dream, who lives in a world full of heroes, and he idolizes like the number one hero above them all, and he wants to be just like him and do good things. You know, it's not just because he wants to be the hero and, you know, make money, which some of them, you know, most of them do, but he really honestly wants to do good things. And he got frustrated with the idea that he couldn't, and this is from season 1, and then ends up finding out from his number one hero that he can through a way of, you know, their powers and whatnot. And it just starts his journey, you know. And a lot of times you think about these animes like this, you're like, oh, it's a journey they're doing, and he's, you know, you're gonna do all the schooling, all the teaching and everything. But I mean, we're in season 2, and we're like some like 12 to episodes in on season 2, something way up there or whatever, and he's still learning, but it's getting like, I like the progression because it's getting better and better, little bits and pieces at a time. And when he has, and they're doing the underdog so well, because when he has those moments when he figures these things out and he succeeds, you feel for him. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, man, sweet, you did it. Woo! And it's just, that's when you have, good story and good characters, when you get that involved and you feel for the character just as much. Mm-hmm. So that's, to me, like, and then just the different abilities and the different powers. It almost reminds me of Railgun and them, because that city, because you see all these different abilities and all these different things. And even though, like, for the most part, they only have one ability per person, it's how they use them that makes it unique and interesting as well. So, this show, it came at me as a surprise, and I'm loving each and every episode that I come across. So awesome.
Yeah, I've only seen the first season. I want to rewatch it so I can refresh my memory before I jump into the second season. I talked about this last year a lot. Like I talked about it through 12 days of anime. I talked about it the 3 different times during the season. So I just want to say now that I love the unique powers. Like you said, it's an underdog story, and we absolutely love those. And it is right now they're doing a tournament arc, so it's
okay, yeah. I will say, in the beginning of that, like the first couple episodes were tournament.
Okay.
Now each one has showcased their abilities. The top person won, and now all the heroes and companies of heroes out there saw the capabilities of these students, and so now each student actually is now under a mentor for a week, and they're in the field, they're learning, but they're also in the field, seeing what hero responsibilities are and what they do, which was awesome for our number one hero, because. God, I can't remember his name. The number one hero above them all.
Oh, All Might.
All Might, yeah. So All Might's mentor actually reached out and said he would actually take him under his Deku under his wing. Ooh. And so that's why he's actually, he's gotten a little bit better. He can control it just a little bit better. But at the same time, seeing him do what he does now with it, you're seeing the potential, and you're like, wow, if he can actually finally get a grasp on this without killing himself by doing it, it'd be great. It'd be freaking awesome. And he's going to do amazing things with it when he does. But every episode just waiting for more and more to come out, just to see what happens and what they do. So,
okay, I got to get back on this. Because I thought it was just going to be a really long, drawn-out tournament arc, but...
Ooh.
Yeah.
The basis of this, literally, I think it was into season 2, I think they did like 4 to 5 episodes of the tournament, and then once they got done with that, they've now wheeled it over to the mentor training and hero. So... Okay. This was the other thing I was going to say about it, too, is you'd think it being kind of this school vibe kind of thing going on here, that it would be very classic kind of school thing. But I like the fact that there are, school things going on here, and it's kind of down to earth, low vibe with that as well. But the fact that they are heroes, and heroes do come in danger, and there are, especially in the second season, some pretty bad things happen, and you can actually, it's like one hero actually ends up becoming paralyzed from his from fighting another villain, essentially. I mean, that's pretty major, It's like you're literally saying, this hero, and it was from one of the heroes that they're a relation of. Yeah. So it grabs you, but see, it's like one of those things. It's like they literally went there. They're like, you know what? We're gonna have one of the heroes no longer be a hero. I mean, you didn't really know him, but you knew the person he's related to, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's those dark moments, and I like the fact that they're actually throwing that into that.
Yeah, they're putting real stakes into the show, which is amazing. So I'm Okay. Okay.
We're not just talking about like little kids going and playing hero or whatever. No, we're talking about real world. Their shit's getting fucked up. People are dying, and there's real consequences for them, at least as far as that goes. And you feel it because of that. Because of that realism that they put into it, like that, you feel it more for that. So it's just, yeah, it's an amazing show. It's probably not like one of my. It's at least up there. I want to say in my top 10. Probably kind of the lower regions of 10, but it's still pretty far up there.
Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah, I got to get back to this because
Absolutely.
Yeah, there were some questions that I had about it, and I don't want to spoil myself, so.
Because I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Yeah. All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is Restaurant to Another World.
This was just all sorts of interesting. I'm of the mind that it almost seems like a cross between some sort of fantasy version of Food Wars.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because like this guy is, and I'm glad. Okay, because I remember before we were talking about when we were leading up to it, the preseason, that we were kind of worried of how far they were going to go with it. I'm glad they went as far as they did with it.
I was waiting for cats.
Yeah, I was too. I was like, oh, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. But the fact that they go, and I'm wanting to see even more variety in what they've done so far. But I like the direction that it's heading in, especially for me because dragons and everything, and I love dragons. And seeing that, I'm like, oh yeah, this is freaking awesome. So for those of you who have not seen or heard about, because I know this is kind of one of those that I think this one and a few others have kind of been pushed under the rug and people haven't really paid too much attention to it. It's basically about a restaurant that during the weekends there are, I think it's just one day, or is it during the weekends, you think?
I think in the synopsis it said like a Saturdays or something like that. I think it was like a one special day.
So basically the store is closed to the general public. Like I don't think they really explain it as far as where it's at, but I think it's somewhere in Tokyo, somewhere in Japan or whatever, the actual restaurant itself.
Yeah.
But when it's closed to general public, the door, and I think they kind of like barely touched on it, but they haven't really said exactly how this happens. But the door will all of a sudden to the restaurant itself will appear in other worlds, other times. And basically, this guy who runs it, and he got it from his father, and his father was also there, because I've seen episodes where you see his father and him cooking as well.
Okay.
For these people. They open their doors to whoever comes in and wants food. And you'll have the wide spectrum of people. I've seen lizard men. I've seen samurai, wizards, a dragon that took on human form, some count or earl from like some dukedom that happened to just come across the door randomly, and the door itself will appear, like when the earl found it, it appeared on an actual log cabin. So he thought he was actually walking into a residence, and it ends up being a restaurant, and he got highly confused about it, but that's what it was. Or like with the lizard, there's an archaeologist. An archaeologist found it in a treasure cave, and literally the door was just standing there by itself, nothing else around it. And they open the door, and literally it's like walking into the restaurant, but literally it's from their world, and it only appears. Yeah, no, you're right. It is only because it only appears every 7 days. Once every 7 days, it will appear in locations.
Oh, okay.
So there's a time frame for it. So, but like it intrigues me because like on the first episode, you got it with the dragon, lady, and she called it her treasure.
Yeah, because it like appeared right in the middle of her gold coin field.
I love the fact that they did that, because I mean that's I haven't seen that dragon wise in a long time, because dragons are known hoarders. They love treasure and love shiny things. So the fact that they had that huge mounds of gold and everything, and it was just funny. She, how she got the stew or whatever, and then came back and transformed into her normal form of a dragon and had this big pot of stew, but it was tiny compared to her, and just started licking at it. I was like, that's just hilarious, honestly. Yeah. But then the fact that the demon girl came along, And I'm guessing that they're in the same world.
Yeah, I think those two
So,
people are definitely in the same world. I haven't seen other people if
yeah,
they're.
but because she ended up walking in and doing all that with the guy who runs the place, and yeah, the girl you see is also the one that's on the picture from the that we have up there. So I
She
have no
doesn't
problem.
look like a demon girl, but she's a demon girl.
No, she's a demon girl, yeah.
By blood.
By blood, yeah. And the fact that she agreed to work for him, and then the minute she did, the dragon lady knew. Or no, she was looking in. She was looking in to see what was because I guess she sensed that there was something different inside of her treasure, as she put it, and
Yeah.
she saw the demon girl. So then she decided to go investigate.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that, you know, she's, even though that it's someone who came in randomly to her treasure, she's literally, you know, and the demon girl's worried about being like picked on or whatever, or having issues in her life. And when the dragon lady flew over, she was like, "You're not gonna have any worries anymore. I'll protect my treasure." And I'm like, "Oh, I like that. That's nice."
Yeah, that was so cool. Because
I
like,
like.
I don't know, this show had kind of a rough start for me because like you start with a bunch of the people from different worlds all eating, and like one dude's like, "Oh my god, this is the best with rice," and then others like, "No, this is the best with rice," and they start getting into this like argument, and like they're about to destroy the restaurant, and the dude comes out, he's like, "Hey, y'all need to cut it out," and they're like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry."
Well, no, he's like, if y'all don't cut it out, I'm not gonna serve you any more food. And they're like, "Oh, we don't want that. Yeah, no, we're good."
Yeah,
You know,
they are.
I don't know. It's like, I like the premise of it. It's just I don't think they're really doing a whole lot with it. But I don't necessarily mind that. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, because like that argument started, and I was kind of upset, and then the dude came out just cool. I'm like, that is awesome. I like him. Like the very first line he said, and he was like on my good list. Then when the dragon came out, she's like this voluptuous lady, and like she came, and like her butler dude was like, could you make me a dress and all that kind of stuff. And me in my head, I'm like, why didn't you prepare that before? If you're embarrassed, why are you sitting on top of a pile of gold just naked while he sews you a dress or whatever? And I'm like, just and then the way that she treats the demon girl later, because she's like looking on the restaurant, because she, like you said, she notices something different. And then because she sees that the girl's gonna help take care of the restaurant, and then she also notices that the girl's like worried about things attacking her and stuff like that, and she comes over and like puts her like dragon blessing on her. Like that completely flipped my opinion of that character. And then also like how she's in the restaurant and like eating all like proper and everything, and then when she gets out, she's like a giant dragon with like a little thimble basically of
stew.
Of stew, and then she has to like just drink a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
It's like she could just change back into her regular form, but nah, she probably feels more comfortable in her dragon form, and like it's a big it was now all of that made me like love that character now.
Yeah.
So as far as the show,
I will say is like for the fact that she was saying about make me a dress, is probably because technically speaking, she doesn't care. To her, when she goes into her human form, it's the same as when she's in her dragon form. She's naked. She doesn't care. But the fact that she probably only does it for the owner.
I can see like she walks in just butt naked. He gets all pissed off at her.
Yeah, probably. And that's probably happened before. And he's been like, "No, if you want me to serve you food, no, stop it. Put some clothes on." So it's like that's probably the reason why she didn't have anything prepared, because technically speaking, she doesn't care, but she kind of does only because she knows she needs it. Otherwise, he won't give her food.
Yeah.
So,
and
go ahead.
Oh, well, I'll say one thing. It's unlike a lot of other shows this season. I love this show because within one episode, you can think of a situation and you already know how other characters will react because they've built the characters like that well so quickly.
Yeah. No, so, I completely agree. Completely agree. I mean, and each episode so far has been just like little snippets. It seems like it's all different worlds that we keep going to and whatnot, but each time we learn just a little bit about who visits and why they do, and the relationship that they have. You know, like I was saying, the archaeologist, there was her uncle who during his last years of his life stayed in one village, and she kept trying to figure out, this girl that was there kept trying to figure out why her uncle did that. It's like there's nothing big about this village. In fact, there's only one cave nearby, and it has nothing in it. But here's the thing: nobody ever went there during that time frame when the door appears. So she actually learned through his journal and deciphering his code that there was something that appeared there, and it only happened one time every 7 days. So she made sure to go there, and then she entered and found out what it was. And just like a restaurant, they gave her the menu and everything. But the guy, the owner, realized who she was. Realized that who she was related to. And then ended up talking with her a little bit about her uncle and whatnot. And she ended up ordering the same thing because she didn't know what to order. So she ended up ordering the same thing, coincidentally, that her uncle almost always ordered when he was there. And then when after she'd eaten and enjoyed it, and I think she had like second helpings even, he ended up giving her a to-go thing and said it was on the house because of he goes, every time your uncle came to eat, he would always order one to go. So I ended up making one without realizing it to go. So this one's on the house from us. And then he asked and found out the uncle had passed away. So and he was like, well, you're more than welcome to stop by. We're here once a week. You can come in. So it's those little snippets and like that, and like with the lizard men, the door appears and it's their way of getting food for their village. So he always takes like to go things as well. But to them, I think the person who went in there first made it seem like it was a big thing, big to do. They had to do some fighting. So they always send their most prominent warrior or whatever, but he knows what it is, so he goes in there and he actually, even though he's a lizard man, big lizard man, he'll sit down just like any normal person. He takes his meal and then he orders things to go. Nice. And it's just like and it's just, again, it's little stories. So like this is very much a slice of life, but it's a very interesting slice of life to me. Yeah. So this is what Centaur Warriors should have paid attention to when doing theirs, and how they should have approached theirs as far as everything developing like this. So anyways, yeah, love the show. Awesome show. It's nothing big, nothing major. It's not going to hit, I don't think, anyone's like top 10 list of animes for this year or whatever, but it is not a bad anime. It is actually really nice and enjoyable. It's a nice, again, slice of life. You ease into it, you enjoy the story, you enjoy the ride for what it is, and that's it, So A+ to me.
Cool. Next show we're going to be talking about is another world anime called In Another World with My Smartphone.
This has been... So did you watch the first episode of this one?
Yes.
Okay, what did you think? I want to see what you thought first.
Kind of slow.
Yeah.
The main character's okay. They're trying to copy Ren and Ram from ReZero. Not ReZero. What is it? What is that one with the... No,
I'm pretty sure you were right about that.
Oh, ReZero. Yeah, it's ReZero.
Yeah,
they're trying to copy Ren and Ram from ReZero. But it was interesting. I like the main guy. Like, he's not... this, like, one prediction that I had for our upcoming anime was like, everybody in the world is dumb and he's just taking advantage of the situation. But, no, he keeps a little bit to himself. He's not trying to get over on people and like take advantage of people. And he's really, really level-headed. Like the person was giving him all of his powers, he's like, "Oh, thank you, that'd be really cool." And he's like, "Aren't you worried about the situation?" He's like, "Nah. I'll just deal with what I got." So it's I like him for being like that, because like that's my attitude. I'm like, well, that sucks. Well, let's make the best of the situation now. So
yeah. Well, and I mean, like, it's not just like you were saying that he's, he got these abilities, but he's still trying to figure them out. Mm-hmm. He's still trying to figure out the extent of what he can do and everything. So he's not 100% sure, but he still tries and does what he can. And it's those interesting moments that come across where, he realizes he actually can do something. He's like, "Oh, yeah, actually, sure, let's do that. Yeah, that works." It's, I can see the wheels turning, and you can think that he's actually processing the information and trying to actually come up with solutions that work. So, and that I completely agree with you. I like the fact that he's level-headed, but he's a thinker.
Yeah.
He won't just... He's not overpowered to be overpowered. He's overpowered because he got these abilities, and he has the ability to reason and think outside the box and use them for the things that he's trying to do. So in that, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm all right with him. I can kind of see what you were saying before about the ReZero, the two characters, because it kind of does seem very similar in that regards.
Yeah.
But there are at least somewhat different, because I mean, before
Yeah.
in ReZero they were demons and everything, and these they're just trained a warrior and a basically a mage kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was like, as soon as I saw them, I'm like, oh, are they trying to do Ran and Ram? Because that was like, those two characters exploded across social media.
I agree.
So yeah, I guess for people who don't know what this story is about, is basically the main guy that's in the middle of the picture. He died because God in the world dropped some lightning bolts, and like one of them
accidentally hit him.
Yeah, so he's like, "I'm sorry."
I love the fact that when you get introduced to that, you're literally seeing. I mean, and they probably did it because he's Japanese and everything, so they're literally sitting in the living room on typical Japanese style with like the small table that they're all sitting on and everything. He's serving him tea, being like, "Well, here you go," And they're just, and like you said, he really does take like a calm look at everything, because even though he's explaining, well, you're dead, and this is what happened. He's like, oh yeah, no, I get that. You're like,
yeah.
And even he goes, he's like, you're really calm about this. He's like, well, there's not really anything I can do about it. It's already done. So
yeah. You said I'm not actually dead. I'm going somewhere else. So
yeah. So I'm just like, heck yeah, this guy's all right. So, but then and at the same time, I know like the reason, like the previous fantasy anime that we had watched that did this, where the guy dies and he gets reincarnated into another world and ends up taking the goddess with him.
Yeah.
And I guess it's nice that he actually
Konosuba.
Yeah, Konosuba. He actually had some also forethought into this. Don't get me wrong, the guy in Konosuba did too, but it was definitely more of a comedic effect as far as that goes and what happened with that. But
freaking Aqua was a jerk. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take you with me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like with this one, like he had some forethought, and he's like, you know what? This would work if I had the ability to use my phone and I could still look things up and have unlimited data for that. Can call. He can't call his old world, but he can actually call God for what. I don't mean, that really hasn't come up yet as far as that goes, but. But then, like God, was like, okay, well, I do that for you. I'll give you a few little bonuses too, just to get you going. Yeah,
so it was so cool.
He gave him like increased physique or kind of like that, and then also increased mental capacity.
Yes.
And so I was like, wow, So it's not so much that he's overpowering him; he's just giving him an edge.
Yeah.
He's
like, this world's a little rough. I'm gonna give you some supplies because you might need it.
You might need them just to get you going. So, but again, it's nothing. It kind of like with Restaurant at the end to Another World. There's nothing necessarily like overly amazing about this anime as far as anything goes. It's nice, and I appreciate it. I enjoy it. But it's nothing like, again, it's not going to hit anyone top 10 list by all means. But it's still a good anime, and I think people should give it an opportunity. Just like with Restaurant Another World, there's other animes that are probably overshadowing it.
Yeah.
But I'd still, for other people out there watching, I say give it a shot, see what you think about it, because it's not a bad anime by any stretch of the means.
Yeah, I one also thing that I liked about his giving bonuses and everything, other than giving him bonuses to survive in his world. When he asked for the cell phone, it's like God thought about it, and he's like, you know what, your phone uses GPS, so let me update your map to the actual world that you're in, so you can actually find your way around. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. Like, that was so, it blew my mind. I was like, dude, this God in this world is awesome.
Yeah.
So
he's actually very considerate. He actually understands that I couldn't use it otherwise. All right, totally on board with that. So
yeah, trying to think, what other than him being in the world, like, did they do anything? Like, he met the girls, he fought the wolves. They learned that he can use every type of magic, and then I think it ended on the first episode.
Well, and then not only can he use every type of magic, but like there's a specific type of magic. It's a personal magic.
Yeah.
And usually only one person, like the personal magic is literally only for that one person, and no one can ever teach that magic to anyone else, but he can actually learn all personal magic.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and again, it's not, he's not being overpowered, because that is an overpower ability, but he has to actually learn them. And even he has said, even though his mental capacity has been expanded, he still doesn't have enough mental capacity to be able to learn actually all of them. So he's kind of having to be picky and choosy about which ones he learns and understands.
Okay.
So, but still, I mean, freaking awesome. And the things that happen, like, he's literally at this point, to me, he's just trying to live his life. He's just trying to do the right thing, live his life in this world, try to figure things out, and, you know, just enjoy himself pretty much. You know what I mean? But like, things that he keeps happening, it's almost like one of those coincidence things.
Yeah.
Because later on, he ends up coming across a carriage in distress. There was some evil mage or whatever that was summoning monsters to attack it, and they end up coming to the rescue, and end up finding out that the person they rescued was the daughter of the brother of the king. Yeah, and on top of that, then he used the ability that he'd literally just learned of teleporting objects to him, small objects, because the butler, which is a close friend to the daughter, had gotten shot with an arrow, and it was wedged in there. They couldn't do the healing for it because otherwise it might cause more issues.
Yeah.
So he ended up teleporting it out, and the other person healed right then and there.
You
know, and then they end up finding out, like, later on, that the wife to the brother of the king was blind from an ailment that they'd had, and they tried all sorts of healing. There was one person who had, big shocker, everyone's staring at him when he says this, personal magic that could have healed it, but he died, and no one else has that magic that they've been able to find. So then all of a sudden, all of his companions look at him, and like, and of course, what ends up happening, he learns about the magic and is able to heal it. So all of a sudden, he becomes in favor of the brother to the king.
Wow.
You know, and so it's just like these things that are happening. Yeah, they're kind of like random good luck windfalls in his favor kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it is stuff that he had to make that choice of whether or not he was going to do that. He didn't have to save the daughter as they were being attacked from the carriage outside of town, but he did. You know, and he didn't have to escort her back and then find out that the wife was stricken with an ailment that he could actually learn something from and cure. You know, so all of these, it shows, I guess, more towards his character as well. So
yeah,
just different things. I'm like, you know what? It's not anywhere near AAA title anime or whatever, but at the same time, it's still a pretty damn good anime. So
okay, cool. So yeah, it looks like they're just going on random adventures. I don't know. It's like I don't not like this one, but I don't know if that's enough for me to like continue it right now. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say it's good enough to check out. It's a pretty cool average anime. There isn't anything like super amazing about it, but I don't notice any flaws in it. Like a lot of the characters like super considerate and everything. So and also so far from the first episode, the more active sister, not the one that uses magic, she doesn't sound like a tsundere, where she's like, it's not like I blah blah blah. She hasn't said that yet.
I have yet to come across a point with her that I've actually seen that happen. So you're good on that regards.
Yeah. So I hope she doesn't, because I hate that line. So. So it's good. You should check it out.
Absolutely.
All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is CHRONOS Ruler, Jikan no Shihaisha.
I feel like Centaur life all over again. I really do. It just seems like there was wasted potential on this. I don't know. So, I mean, you watched the first episode on this one, right?
Yeah.
What did you think? Okay. Just like with Iman, as far as that goes, I'll just say this right from the get-go. I think the pacing was just all over the damn place.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Especially the end.
Yeah, it's... okay. As far as animation and technical aspect, the 3D looks good.
See, that's the thing. That's saying something. Usually I have an issue when it comes to 3D animation and everything. Yeah. I didn't even mind it. But that's because it was only during certain things. They They didn't overuse it. They only did it during certain scenes and whatnot, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, and it matched. It's not like Handshakers where they just barf up shiny metal everything and just spin you around like a hurricane or throwing garbage at you. It's they're running, well, not running through the streets, but like hopping from building to building through the streets, and you actually get to see cool angles while they're doing that. The monster that they looked like a mix between Venom and Hanzo's arm from Naruto with all the eyeballs on it. Yeah. And I thought that was kind of cool, but there were certain parts in the anime where I don't think the monster was being held down, but he was just kind of standing over there just like letting people talk before he goes and like, y'all finished talking? Can I attack now? And I'm like, it was kind of weird. But overall the story is it became epic at the end. Like they hooked me at the end.
It did, but like, God, that pacing.
Yeah.
Pacing. And then to throw in like just randomly, just absolutely randomly, you know, they're like, from that entire thing, and they never corrected her on it. She kept going, oh, you two are brothers, you're the older brother, yada yada yada. And then just as like a last line, you find out he's the father and it's dad, and you're like, wait, what? I'm sorry. And they're like, end, and you're like, no, what are you? No, stop it. We're gonna throw, but and the casual way in which he said it too, I'm like, are you serious? You're gonna throw like a bombshell on somebody and then just have it be casual, be like, oh no, he's not my brother, he's my father. And what? Stop. God.
Yeah.
Anyway, that just irked me to no end, I swear. It seriously did.
So with me, I'm watching it and I'm like, so the show's just like going all over the place. It's like, what is it? Oh, they did the same thing that Emon did in freaking Spirit Pack. It's like he's fighting a monster and then this girl just wanders into the fight. They don't really acknowledge her. And then the dude gets all cocky and he's like, ha, I shall hear your screams of death any minute now.
Yeah.
Any minute now. And I'm like, what is he doing? Is he talking to her? Or is he bragging? And then his brother father comes out of nowhere and was like with a crowd of girls. He's like, hey girls, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and he's like, why didn't you kill the monster? And I'm like, oh, they had something set up. Okay, nobody's talking to the girl. Like, did you not see her? And then the other dude points her out and then he finally talks to her. And when they go to like the cabaret, which I'm like, why are you taking this girl to a cabaret? And like kind of explain some backstory. I'm like, oh, okay. That's fine. And then they go start chasing again. And then like they start talking and leave the monster alone again. So I'm like, I hate when anime do that. Like everything's happening at the same time. You're fighting the dude and you're talking. You don't just stop fighting the dude and then go talk. It was weird. But as far as the characters go, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I like the way that the two brothers at first were like interacting, and I'm like, it was kind of weird, like how I feel like they should have earned it a bit more. How when he just used his ultimate power all of a sudden and like lost a chunk of his memories, and the way that he was acting, I couldn't tell what he was missing because I don't know him yet.
Yeah.
So
and then on top of that, it's like not only that, but it's obvious that they want you to feel for the character. Mm-hmm. Like this is a pretty serious thing. He's losing, his life, his memories. Eventually it'll turn back too far, and just like that one woman, he'll just turn to dust, just like she did, kind of thing. Yeah. And I get that, and honestly, when that girl did in the first episode, I felt more for her than I do for the brother father, as far as that goes. Yeah. And it's like, I know you're wanting us to feel in that same regards, but I just don't. I'm not invested in this character yet. I don't have, I don't know him. I don't feel for him. I don't. And to me, honestly, and I know it's just because they're wanting to showcase how young he is and his attitude, but his attitude just irks me more than anything else.
Yeah, he was annoying. I'm like, good, get away from me.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting here going like, if you're trying to go for this, I think you're going about it the wrong way as far as that goes. So,
yeah.
Here again, just like with Emon, this Centaur Life, there was a lot of potential. They had created a very interesting world, and it's relatable in regards to the whole people wishing to turn back time. Like, that is something I think everyone, and as we said in the preseason talk about this, everyone can have a relation to and think about and be able to identify with, is the idea that at one point in your life you've always said something about wanting to turn back time, wanting to, take back something that you did or said. And that's where these creatures come from, which is, and in my opinion, that's very cool. And to think that there is somebody out there actually fighting these creatures, again, awesome. I'm totally on board with that. But the way that it's just going about, I just, I almost feel like they're trying to take something akin to Full Metal Alchemist. You know what I mean? Kind of how the preparation and how they're searching for something and they're fighting in that same sense. You know what I mean? Because you got they're searching, they're questing, just like the Alrics were. They're both not quite how they used to be. They've gained abilities, they've lost certain things, and they're just trying to get back what it was that they lost. Yeah. But it just does not have the same impact. The characters themselves do not have the same impact as it did in Full Metal Alchemist. So
yeah, well, I think just like how Centaur should have been, this show should have started out with a crazy battle and then backtrack. Like backtrack to, I hate how that's the trend where it's like, show me something cool to hook me in and then backtrack and slowly ramp back up to that. I hate that I keep using that again, but it's better than what some of these people are trying that's different, because you end up being lost. Yeah. So I kind of wish that there was like this crazy battle and everything, and then...
And see, I didn't even realize like what it was that they were doing until, because I didn't watch the whole of second episodes, but I watched most of it. And you end up they come across this huge one of those monsters, and they end up finding, because it was it's a huge venom monster. But it was because they were in a town that allotted gambling, and there was so many people in that town that wanted that this creature came from it. But see, here's the thing. Then you end up finding out that creature that appeared is the same one that basically bit into his father, who's causing him to, and then they start going on like they want to kill him to try to gain back. Like, this was never explained, was never even detailed, and all of a sudden you're having to catch up and go, oh, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to come and find this creature. But then for some reason this creature turns into a human. Yeah, like it was a big, and like unlike the other ones, it was a big white amorphous blob with eyes and stuff like that. And then when somebody apparently has control over him, didn't explain that either, but somebody apparently has control over him, and they called him back because all of a sudden, and here's another thing, there are more than just those two guys fighting these things.
Which I just automatically assumed that. I didn't.
You do, but it's never explained. Never explained. You don't know if there's is it just, but to see apparently this girl that is also fighting them knew of these guys, and all of a sudden I didn't watch any further because eventually I was just like, I can't anymore. But apparently she's claiming to be the father's wife. So now I'm like, wait, is this an organization or is this all just in the family? So I mean, it's like the more they try, the more questions you have, you know? Yeah. And I'm like, you keep backsliding and having to throw these stuff in to try to do explanation, but the more explanation you try to throw in there, the more questions you end up having. Yeah. And it's only because you started so far into it, and now everyone else is trying to catch up with what you saw or what you did. So I just, again, another show with wasted potential. With just bad writing as far as just the actual plot and pacing of it goes. Just, what's wrong with these people? Anyways.
Yeah. This would maybe a drop. All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is Touken Ranbu, Katsugeki.
This is very interesting. To me, at least. I kind of like, this was one of those instances where like we read the summary for it and what was going to be about, and then like both of us kind of just looked at each other questioningly because we're like, do we accept that this is exactly what it's going to be about, or is the summary for this not exactly telling you everything? Because it seemed like the summary of this was not exactly telling you everything. So you're looking at it going, what? How, why, where, when, what's going on here? But for some reason, it's exactly what it is.
Yes.
It is exactly what it is. I am just amazed. But I don't dislike it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of enjoy it. I think it's got a pretty decent, like the looks of it's nice.
Yeah.
And the characters I'm enjoying those.
Yeah.
Like I like the fact that each of these weapons that are now turned into people, essentially. They each
Swords who are cute boys.
Yeah. They each have their own personality. So I like that. It differentiates them and it makes them more defined and relatable in a lot of ways because you have different quirks and different aspects of them because of it. So I'm not sure though how I feel about the young one. I know he's the new kid on the block essentially, and he's kind of in training, but I don't know necessarily how I feel about him because it almost seems like they push it a little too far about the fact that he's the new guy kind of thing, and his personality kind of gets a little hectic and crazy, you know? And I'm like, okay, come on now. You gotta stop and think about this for like a second, you know?
I'm worried that somebody's gonna die because of him.
Yeah, I get that feeling too. I really do. But it's like, this is one of those instances, I know we were just talking about in CHRONOS, that, you know, they don't really tell you a whole lot. But like, this is one of those instances where they explain, I think, just enough. They explain just enough to get you involved. And then while we're trying to stop these extremists from changing the past in order to fit their future, they kind of go back into details about kind of what's going on, you know? So those little instances like that, I guess I'm more agreeable to, because I think it's just enough. They have just barely done it, but it's just enough. And I don't know, I guess it's stereotypical anime, but like their commander, like I'm like, oh, wow, come on, really? You're gonna have like he looks like he's in his mid-20s, if anything, if not younger. Be the commander and supreme chief who can summon these weapons into people and whatnot. I'm just like, all right, whatever. I was, you know, at least half expecting somebody a little more grizzled or looking like, because I mean, they've supposedly been in this war with these, you know, time travel extremist history changers for it seems like a long time, and yet, you know, yeah, it just seemed weird. Anyways, but yeah, no, I'm intrigued, and it almost seems like I haven't like looked up the information, but I'm almost curious as like the information that you get, like how much of this did they actually base in fact? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're going back in time and they're taking excerpts from things that happened supposedly. I'm curious if it's actually something that actually happened in Japan's history. You know what I mean? Like when did the steamboat actually arrive in Japan? And when that giant fire, is that something that actually did take place during that time frame or whatever? You know? I'm kind of curious about that, just because I'm like, how authentic did they make this?
Yeah, so, and that's a like a hallmark to how good the show is. Is like we're actually left in the dark with a lot of what's going on because it may be based on actual history, and then also we don't know exactly who we're fighting against. All we've seen are like just the soldiers. We don't know the leader on the other side. We don't know. Like one thing that was really cool is it's one of the things where it's like this the stereotype that I've been saying this whole show is show something really cool and then backtrack. Well, basically they introduced all the characters because something bad was like they needed help, but then the very next episode could just be those same two dudes again, and we had enough excitement to get hooked in to where we're like, dude, I can't wait to see that dude again. But I won't be upset that if I don't see them for like another couple episodes, because the two guys that we're with are interesting enough to where we don't have to see something even more interesting to go after that. One thing I really like about the show is that it's UFO table, so like the animation style is gorgeous. They animate on a higher frame rate, so everything's a lot smoother than other shows. And then I do like the style that they're using for this, because it looks like a lot of their other shows, but it's slightly different. It's kind of flat, and like it kind of reminds me of what was that show, like Samurai Jack, where it's like a lot of black and a lot of darkness. There's some reds in there.
Yeah.
And it's cool because like we're on, like, he basically explained that they get transported to parts in time where something, like, basically the bad guys are going to change history, and then they fight against the bad guys to make sure history stays the way it's supposed to be. One thing that would be really cool is, like, it probably won't happen because the bad guys look so evil, but what if it's like the good guys are the bad guys, and like they've already changed history, and now the bad guys are coming to try to fix it, but then the people were following stopped it, and it ends up staying bad. Because I don't know, that would be really cool, because the leader on this side looks so young and innocent. That would be like something really, really cool, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
It would be cool, but I don't think it will happen.
Yeah, the show is good, excellent enough without that to happen, but that would like hurt. I would be like, no, this whole time. But I am definitely keeping up with the show. The animation, like the fights are amazing. Like the enemies look crazy. The heroes in the show are not, like, they can be hurt. So I like how they're vulnerable, and like I'm scared that like that main guy, like the main strong guy that's training the young guy, I feel like he's gonna die. I hope not, or he's gonna get like seriously hurt, and then the young guy's gonna like finally like
step up.
But
yeah.
I hope that there's like, this show is so cool that there's like all these amazing possibilities that are going off in my head, and I'm like, they're probably gonna do something that I didn't even think about. So like, this show makes me excited, and I really, really like it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this is probably one of the upper, as far as the shows out this season, I think is probably, again, like way up there in regards to the everything for it. And just like with the Academia anime, every time I see one of these come out, I'm always excited to watch.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, definitely check this out. If you're a UFO Table fan, you will absolutely love this. And if you're not, you will probably become a UFO Table fan. Let's see.
Join the dark side.
Yes. The next show we're going to be talking about is Knights and Magic.
This has been like wow. I think this show just kind of floored me when it came out. And again, I think this is another one that's not as nearly as appreciated and whatnot. But this, oh man, I don't even know where to begin with this one. The main character, okay, so in case you didn't know, it's another one where someone dies and they get reborn into another world.
They didn't explain that.
Huh?
They didn't explain it.
No, they didn't explain it.
Which I'm like, I get it, but you should have at least told me.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, from that point on, like, I'm on board.
Yeah, once they neglected to tell us.
After that initial, like, literally after that, I'm like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you basically have a person who is a genius programmer. He can absolutely program damn near anything. He's just so good at it. Dies, gets reborn into this other world, and this world has giant monsters, and I mean just freaking huge monsters sometimes. And but they have these mechs that they have created, and they almost look like just really giant knights, essentially.
Yeah.
But they have these mechs that they have created in order to combat these creatures. And the guy who died, not only was he a programmer, but he loved mechs.
Yeah.
Like, he had so many models he kept making. Like, he knew everything about them as far as he could, and just absolutely loved the whole concept and idea of mechs. So when he came to this world and saw that there were mechs here, he was just absolutely thrilled.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he's actually, in order to control and use these mechs, you actually have to have a certain aptitude with magic, because it kind of rides off that and thrives off that. But with his background in programming, he broke it down. And this is what kills me is, you know, this is the first time I've seen someone do this. He took magic as a core concept and broke it down as programming, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's how he's able to understand and utilize it as well as he does.
Yeah.
And he utilizes it so well. Just wow. Training himself and stuff like that.
There's one little thing about that I'm kind of curious about. So he's basically advancing the technology that their culture is like based upon.
Yeah.
So much, but he's not sharing the knowledge.
Well, it's because he's figuring that out.
Yeah, because like he can basically fly around.
Well, yeah, but the stuff that okay, so he is. But see, here's the thing. I don't think he's necessarily. He is sharing that with the two friends that he made.
Yes.
But see, here's the thing. They asked him. Mm-hmm. Nobody's asked him how he does what he does.
Yeah, and like his teacher's a jerk to him. So
see, that's what I'm saying. It's like
yeah. So I'm like,
if they actually asked him and went, "How do you do this?" I am almost like 99.9% sure he would literally go, "Okay, this is how I do it." He would tell them, but nobody asks him.
You know what? And I think because I'm pretty sure because he's so focused on like, I got to get to these mechs that he's not even like concerned about. Like, I need to get from here to there faster so I can get to the mechs faster. So I'm gonna invent some technology to get me here to here faster. He's not like thinking about society or anything like that. Nope. And plus, the adults around him are jerks. So I can see that one part, but I'm like, part of me's all like, why don't you share a little bit? So. But I kind of hope they deal with that a little bit,
in a way,
not in a jerky way.
How much have you watched so far of it?
Everything, one episode.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So basically, as you go along, he is now building his own mech. Yeah. But see, he's modifying an existing mech that was kind of out of commission. Mm-hmm. And that's his first step. That's how he's learning about how these things function and the basic program, you know, like everything behind it. Mm-hmm. Is he's modifying an existing one, and then he's going to build his own afterwards. He's even said, like, he's made amazing leaps in modifying this existing one, which is something that nobody in, like, hundreds of years have done. Mm-hmm. Like, these things have been this way for who knows how long.
Yeah.
And it's
there was that
like,
one guy that has modified some stuff, but I guess he's modified it, like, way more.
Yeah. See, but here's the thing, though, is usually when it takes giant leaps, it takes hundreds of years. Like, it's a momentous occasion when somebody actually makes a modification that works. And he's making modifications like crazy. Nice. It's amazing people all over the place. But it's his understanding of it and how he perceives it and wants to create something that will function even better than what is currently available, you know? Mm-hmm. But see, here's the thing. He is actually like the one he's modified, he's showing the pilot of that one what he is doing, and the pilot is then test running it for him. So in a way, he is teaching other people what he is that he's doing. But here's the other thing. Now there's another faction that is trying to steal his ideas. So you have on the one hand, yeah, he is sharing ideas, but you have on the other hand, somebody's trying to take those ideas from him.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, that's cool.
So, but see, and then when I watched, there was an episode where he ends up fighting it was a giant, like, turtle armored monstrosity. And he ends up taking it down through specific means I won't go into, while piloting a mech that he kind of, quote unquote, borrowed. Well, they had run away from battle, and he ended up finding them, jumping into the machine. He knocked them out, and then just took control over it and found a way to make it work for him. So, which was cool. Yeah. But like when he defeated it, I was reading on the comments on Crunchyroll while I was watching it, saying, "Well, great, he's defeated this, like, you know, because when they first introduced this monster, they were like, oh my god, it's like a Legion class kind of monster because it was so huge." They're like, we don't know, you know, we might not actually have the resources to be able to take it down. And the person commenting was like, well, great. And now he's defeated something that was like a Legion class. Where is he going to go from there? And I'm like, really? Come on. If they had a monster that was a Legion class, there's probably going to be even worse out there. You just don't know about.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I mean, I kind of look at it in that sense as if you're considering him to be overpowered. I mean, look what they did with One Punch Man. You know, here again, someone's completely overpowered, but they still had things that he had to do, and conflicts that came about because of it. So, and again, with him, it was like internalized as far as like the heroes that he was working with. And it seems like for me in Knights and Magic, the people that he's working with, there are some of them in there. Some of them are trying to help him and exceed in this, and some of them are actually trying to take his ideas.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of potential in this one. I'm really looking forward to seeing how where they go with it. So
yeah. Let's see. So basically, I am on board for the show. Like, I was tripped up a little bit because they kind of like jumped in the story, and like he didn't acknowledge that he's in another world. He was just like, "Ooh, mechs, let's keep going."
I can't necessarily say I blame him, but you know,
then
you wake up in a world with mechs, you're like, hell yeah, let me get one of those.
Then let's see. Then what was I was hooked. I was hooked, like it was hooked, like in a secret at the end when they did the one battle, because basically they were doing like a training exercise or something like that, and they were taking the class like out to like a battlefield or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. And things went wrong, and like there were way more monsters than there were supposed to be, and they're like trying to evacuate, but then him and his two friends like showed up in the to kind of like delay the attack while the like actual soldiers showed up and like helped everybody. That was like, as soon as he started like flying around and like fighting, then I was like, yeah, I'm good, I'm ready to go. So I'm definitely gonna continue the show. There aren't really, like, because you've explained like why my one question about him sharing like his knowledge, I don't really have anything like bad about this show other than like little technical things that a lot of other anime have, and that's like the look of the monsters and the look of the mechs. The mechs are better than the monsters. The monsters are kind of shiny looking and don't really match the animation, but I can easily get over that because there's a lot of other animes that do the same thing. So I don't really have barely any like anything crucial against this show. So
as far as like any of the animes out there, I mean, I would say I would rate this as like, for this season, like at least, you know, number 2 or number 3 as far as like up there for that. Cause so at least the ones that I've watched. So, but you know, awesome. Highly
I'll
recommend
definitely say check this one out. If you're into like magic and mechs, then...
And see, I'm not even into mechs. I'm not even like a huge fan of mechs, and I like this one.
Yeah. Because it's not about the mech. It's about people around the mechs and what goes into the mech. So, and it's not like based on like all the soldiers in the military and stuff like that. It's you're following a character who doesn't necessarily want to be in the military. He just wants a mech, and he's going through he's going through any means he can to like to just get a mech. And he's like, I just want to be in one and walk around. Like, I don't care about fighting for the country and all that kind of stuff.
And do that. I don't care. I just want one of these things. This is cool.
Yeah. So that's really, really cool about this show. The next show we're gonna be talking about is Made in Abyss.
This is one I have unfortunately not had the opportunity to watch because, well, it is exclusives, and we all know about exclusives are wonderful. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So over on Anime Strike, Amazon's double paywall garden.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it too.
Yeah. It is. I love the show. I was expecting what this show gave me, and it gave me that plus more smiles. So basically there's a something happened, and there was this giant hole in the ground, an abyss, and people discovered it. They started finding some valuable things in the abyss, in the upper levels, and they are curious to see what's at the bottom or what's in the lower levels, like if there's more valuable items or just crazy valuable resources and stuff like that. So basically you're following this girl and this guy, which is the girl from the picture, but not the guy from the picture, because that's actually an android. They don't know, in the first episode that I've seen, they don't know where it came from, but they kind of, and he either saved her on purpose or by accident, because she was being chased by that little flying worm thing that's in the picture. And she was about to get eaten, and then all of a sudden this laser beam just comes out of nowhere and hits the thing, and it runs off. And then she kind of like traced the laser through the through the array of holes through like a bunch of trees and through a cliff and followed it to like the top of this tree where the dude was just kind of like, I don't know what happened. Like, he was fighting something and it knocked him out, and he fell into the tree and his hand fell over and like shot a hole through the cliff and a bunch of trees and just happened to save her. But
nice.
They don't, like, you don't know. All you do is you find him. He's like kind of busted up and he's laying in the top of a tree, and she like drags him. Was her and her friend who's they're on an expedition with, looking for resources. The dude gets attacked, and he's like, he almost cracked his head open. He's like laying off in a cliff. She's being chased by the monster. And then once the monster goes away, I would think you'd go help your friend who's bleeding from his head. But she went and followed the holes to where the laser came from and found a robot. And the dude was okay because they meet up later. He's like, man, I found some stuff. And she's like, I found a robot. And they both drag him. Yeah, they drag him to their, I guess, dorm, because it's like, I don't know if it's like an orphanage or a school, but it's like a bunch of students living in these rooms, and it's kind of like Little Witch Academia, where it's like it's a school but they live there, and like they're like, a couple of the teachers are interesting. I think one of them is like the mean old lady, but she has a nice sweetheart inside that hard exterior. And I thought she was really cool. The guy that's with the main girl, he's kind of laid back. He knows that she likes going into crazy stuff, and he's kind of like, there she goes again. So he's used to crazy stuff happening. And then the girl, she's just like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and she's like all over the place. So once they like create a diversion to sneak the robot into their like dorm room, they they try to get him to wake up, and I can't remember exactly what she does, but it's something to the effect of taking two what are that cable, jumper cables, basically taking two jumper cables, attaching it to his nipples and like cranking it up. Something to that effect. I can't remember. I watched this like a month ago, so I can't remember exactly what happened, but she flipped a switch and damn near fried him.
Oh, wow.
So like all the electricity went out in the building because she flipped that switch, and he's like, he woke up and he's like sitting there smoking, and I'm like, oh my God, why did you do that? So of course everybody's all like, oh my God, what did she do this time? And they like come to her room and she's like trying to hide stuff. So this show is adorable. It's hilarious. I like the characters, and I'm curious to see like what, like she basically wants to go down lower into the lower levels of the abyss, which have more of those like snake monsters plus more dangerous monsters. But she wants to go down there because she has this goal, and I can't remember if it's like she had a parent who died and she wants to like be like them and like do what that person did, or she's trying to make a name for herself. I can't remember exactly because I watched this a while ago. But she has a goal, and people are trying to hold her back because it's dangerous down there. She's on the higher levels, and she almost got eaten by a monster, and the dude almost cracked his head open. So I'm like, yeah, girl, just like slow it down a little bit. So I think this robot's gonna kind of distract her from that, and like she'll get into like other dangerous situations rather than heading down, or she'll, hey, you got lasers, come with us down to these deeper things.
You can help protect us.
Yeah. So the show, it made me laugh. The character designs are cute. I love this style of show. Like, it reminds me of a lot of my favorite shows, where it's like kids going on an adventure. Like, if it was me, I'm like, nah, like I don't want to go anywhere near them giant snake things. So y'all go. Y'all go. So
I don't know. I don't think, like, it sounds like I would really enjoy it, but I think the only thing that I would trip me up is the style of the animation, because I just don't know if I could get over that.
Yeah.
It just seems like a weird style.
Yeah, it's that watercolored backgrounds, like everything's like kind of pastel and kind kind of washed out, and then like the big bubbly headed kids with the big feet, big hands. So yeah, it's a style that I like. Like Little Witch Academia has a similar mood and like kind of atmosphere where it's you're in school, you go on like excursions that may be dangerous, but as long as you stay within the lines, you shouldn't get killed. But of course, you're gonna go out of the lines. So it's cool. It's like fun kids adventure, and I really like that.
And I think as far as the storyline and everything goes, I'd really enjoy it, and it sounds hilarious. But I don't know, that animation. Sometimes I have an issue with that, where it's like the animation. It's like with me in 3D. I can, even though it's a good storyline or whatever, I have sometimes issues with incorporating like a 3D animation into there. It just kills it for me. So I don't know. I might try it if it ever ends up coming available to me to actually watch. Yeah. Who knows? Anyways.
All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is Princess Principal.
This was one I was also interested in watching, but again, unfortunately, Amazon has a stranglehold on these, so, you know. Yeah,
so this is another one on Anime Strike. From the trailer, it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's basically girls who go to a fancy school by day, but then are assassin spies at night. This is kind of a steampunk anime where there's the technology in there is based on something similar to technology from the past, like using steam powered engines and stuff like that, but future, like in present day and slightly more future technology versions of it. So basically there's this agency that takes care of things that need to be taken care of in the shadows, and these girls do all the dirty work. The story's kind of complicated because there's these different agencies, and they double cross each other, so I don't know who's really a good guy or who's actually a bad guy. In the first episode, there was this one guy, his sister's sick. She has some kind of weird disease that's caused by there's something happening in the world. It's kind of like a little bit of a dystopia, but not like apocalypse level dystopia. And his sister is sick and she's in the hospital, and he needs money to pay for her treatment, but because he's a scientist, there's people who want them. They're like, if you help us create this like weapon or something for nefarious reasons, then we'll give you the money to help your sister. And they kind of blackmail him. What these girls in this agency do, they basically are gonna just sneak in, capture both of them, and then send them off to safety without they don't need him to like make something for them. They're just like doing what's right. And when they sneak into the hospital, it's super cool. It's like, one, because I'm not like 100% familiar with the characters, and like some of the nurses and everything look similar to them. So you would pop up in the hospital, and like somebody would come in through the window, and you're like, okay, that's one of our people. And then somebody would like take a bedpan, and you're like, is she with us? And then like another person would come in and like talk to the girl, and like, oh, okay, she's with us. And then like they would just disappear, and I'm like, what happened? Y'all are too good. I don't know what's going on. But that was really, really cool. And then they get into this high-speed chase when they're actually taking the brother, the scientist guy, to their hideout. Like, this one girl, she has this like anti-gravity ball, but then just like with Darker Than Black, there's like good things and bad things about it, where she uses it, but then it overheats, and like it's kind of like a little nuclear reactor or something like that. So it's like she can use it for like a certain amount of time, but then once she's done with it, she needs to like put it in this like cooling canister, and like she puts it in, it's like shh, and I'm like, oh. So the technology that they use in this anime is really cool, and like they have this kind of old style car, or it looks kind of like a hearse, but then it has like the wheels with that like long stylish hump over each wheel. And that thing travels at like 200 miles an hour. And it's like all the cars do. And they're in this like old school looking hearse, and they're like, just like flying through the streets. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, are there any regular cars? Because if so, then I would be terrified to drive in the roads. So there's like really, really cool aspects about it. As far as the characters goes, there's one girl, the one in the top right with a bow in her hair. She just talked to somebody. She talked to the girl that's two below her. They were having a conversation. I can't remember what about, but just the way that she grinned and the way that they were talking, I was like, I like her. She hasn't done anything except for like talk to the girl and smile. And I'm like, yeah, she's my favorite. She's like I like that kind of grin that she had. And then the other girl, she's like cool, like an older sister, kind of cool. And then the one with the gun, she's like, she would be like that quiet, silver-haired, monotone character that doesn't really do much. But even though she doesn't talk a lot and she's kind of monotone, she's way more mysterious than the other characters are. These characters are mysterious because they don't say much and they kind of just have a blank stare. She's mysterious because she say what needs to be said. She's short, but then she lies all the time. So you don't know if what she's telling you is the truth. And then you don't know if it's the truth, how much of the truth it is, because she barely, like, she's short and like doesn't explain things. So she's interesting. Like I'm curious to learn her backstory. Like I think they said that somebody close to her died, like maybe her brother or something like that. And she has a goal that she's trying to accomplish by being in this organization, but we don't know it yet. So that's another layer of like mystery. And I don't know. And like she tries to, like, she makes like some kind of dry jokes, and they're funny if you know her, but if you don't, she kind of seems like a jerk. So it's really cool. Like I like the way that they've fleshed out the character so far. So I'm definitely gonna continue it because the action's awesome. The story, I think I'm on the right side, but I don't know for sure. And I don't know how the organization's structured, and I don't care to know right now because I'm with enough interesting characters to be like, oh, what are you doing now? Oh, what are y'all doing now? And like their skill level in executing their missions is like top notch. So I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Yeah.
Well, again, another one that sounds like it'd be right up my alley. I'd definitely enjoy that. And it has been a while since I've actually seen one that was a steampunk-esque type anime as well. So it's not something you see very often.
The next show and the last show for today will be Saiyuki Reload Blast.
Wait, didn't we have Yokai Apartment as well?
Oh, it's not. Okay, yes, we have that one too. Okay, so second to last is this one.
Gotcha.
All right, Saiyuki Reload Blast. Have you watched? Oh, wait, have you watched this one?
Ooh, no.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So this is that one series where I'm like, oh, Saiyuki Reload, or ooh, Saiyuki, that looks cool, and I watch it and I don't really like the first episode, and then years later, Saiyuki Reload comes out, and I'm like, ooh, Saiyuki again. Did I like that one? I'm not sure. Let me watch the first episode. No, I didn't like it. Then, even more years later, Saiyuki Reload Blast. I'm like, oh, that's that one series that I don't think I like, and I can't remember the reason why, so let me check out the episode. I check it out, and I'm like, I like this. I don't love it, but I like it. I like the individual, like, personalities of the characters. I do like the style of the anime. They've kind of modernized it, because from what I remembered before I actually watched this one was it reminded me of Trigun. So this kind of still reminds me of Trigun, where it's like a wandering mercenary basically, and in this world these four guys are known as this the something group, and they go around basically stopping evil. And I don't know if they purposely search out evil or evil just happens to always follow them every episode. But basically in this one, they're starving, they're just filthy, covered in blood and dirt, and nobody can recognize them. And they end up coming across this one village where actually they come across this one dude being attacked by demons. And basically there's humans, and so from what I know from this first episode, there's humans and there's demons, and there are more demons than there are humans because the demons keep killing everybody. And there are villages all over the place, but some of them are trying to hide out and trying not to draw them attention to themselves because everybody keeps getting attacked by these demons. So I think the first episode starts out with a carriage going back to the village, and it gets attacked by demons, and then these guys just happen to show up in their Jeep, and they save the day. So the guy who they saved ends up bringing them into the village to repay them, to like give them a bath and food and shelter for the night. Of course they're going to get attacked. People who have danger following them every single day, going to a peaceful village is never, ever, ever a good idea. It happens in every single anime. So, of course, and it's not their fault this time. Well, it's one of the things which was kind of cool, that is not their fault, where it's like, oh, we found you, kill everybody. It's one of these things where there's this weird situation in the town to where, like, everybody just keeps dying. Like, people leave the town and they don't come back. And, everybody's like just torn down mentally to where they're like, we need to go out to get supplies and stuff like that. But every other time somebody goes out, they end up dying, and we end up losing supply. We end up losing our tools and everything, and not end up getting supplies. So we have to send another person out, and like they barely make it back without getting killed. So it's just a dreary town, and like the little food that they have left, they're like giving to the guys who saved them. And there's this one woman where her husband had died, and she's kind of like in a drunken stupor, but she's not really drunk. It's kind of like she's just out of it mentally, and like she's humming this weird, like this weird song, and people are always like yelling at her like, quit humming, you're gonna attract the demons. And they're like slapping her, which every time like somebody slaps a woman, it like irritates me. Like I'm like, it's the drawing, but I'm like, oh, it freaking so I hate when situations are like that. So they're like just treating her terribly, and like they're like, just stay in the house and like quit causing trouble. And like the guys see that, and then they try to sleep throughout the night, and they're like, don't, like, you're fed and you're like you're sleep, we've given you a bath and food and everything, so just stay throughout the night, and then you can leave in the morning because the demons probably won't be around. So everybody's asleep and everything, and then all of a sudden you see her like singing in her drunken stupor, and then like the village has a drawbridge that they rarely ever drop down, and here she is just singing and just lowering the bridge, and cut to an attack, like hollering and screaming, and you end up waking up with the four guys, and people are just like running. The demons just took the city, and they're just like killing everybody. So then the guys, they wake up and they're like, you woke me up 2 hours early, you're gonna pay for it. And they're like killing everybody. So it's like they have these kind of silly jokes in thrown about. I don't know the characters, so some of the jokes fell flat. So I kind of, if I want to like seriously watch this, I want to start from the beginning, so I won't feel like it's a silly joke. But yeah, so they save the day and everything, and then they go off to the next location. So it's pretty much Monster of the Week kind of show. It follows like some stereotypes, but I think it's actually a pretty good show. Like this season, the first episode I actually liked, and I'm pretty sure I can keep these characters in my mind. So I may go back now and watch the first two, because this is actually pretty good.
Well, good luck with that. Considering your opinion of the first two seasons, I'm not sure you're going to be able to do that, but who knows? Maybe your opinions of it has changed over the years since it's been out. So
yeah. So the next show we're going to talk about is Yokai Apartment Life. And
yes. And you watched the first episode of this one too?
Yes.
So like, okay, this series is interesting in very different ways. Instead of taking the aspect kind of like of Centaur Life, where everyone's a monster and whatnot, it kind of goes a little bit more closely related to, I think, the previous Monster Girl anime I'd watched, where you have just a sprinkling of creatures or monsters or whatever inside of it. And very loosely based on that is what I would say, because basically what you end up going to is this boy, he
Who looks
wanted
like
to
a
go
man?
into,
I'm sorry. I thought they
he's
were
wanting to go
adults.
into high school. See, I thought it was college too, but he's wanting to go
Yeah.
into a high school, but it's sort of like a businessy where it has dorms and stuff like that. And when he graduates and is about to go into it from middle school to high school, the dormitory burns down. He's been wanting to move out from his uncle's place, and I don't know why I did not connect the reason, thinking about the reason why he's living at his uncle's place, or did he not? They not explain that as far as him actually living with his uncle for a little while.
Yeah, they explained it
Okay.
with a short little burst. Basically, his parents died and his uncle took him in.
See, yeah, no. But see, that's the thing. I didn't realize until later on when he moved into the other place that his parents had died. For some reason, I didn't connect that in my mind.
Yeah.
As far as that went.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not sure whether or not it's because they didn't necessarily explain right at first that he was actually living with his uncle.
Yeah, I thought that was his family and they were jerks.
See that? Okay, so that wasn't just me. I was like, I thought that was his mom and dad and his sister or whatever, and that they were just, his sister was just being kind of jerkish to him.
Yeah, the weirdest thing, because it's like, you don't know why his family is are jerks to him and everything, and everybody looks at him like across the newspaper like, and stuff like that, where they only explain it when he finally moves out and puts down a picture, and he's like, "Ooh, who's that?"
Well,
he's like,
no,
"Oh,
it wasn't even a picture. Remember what happened is the girl, when he goes in, so basically he's trying to find a place to live in order to, because apparently the dormitory is going to be rebuilt in 6 months.
Yeah.
He's trying to find a place to live. So nobody will take him for the amount of money he has available to him to be able to go into some place. There ends up being where he's in the park and he's dejected, doesn't know what to do, and a boy comes up and while he's not really looking and says, "Hey, I know of a place. You can find out from over there," and points him in the direction of basically a real estate place or whatever. And then the boy just disappears. And I know the boy is, and it's interesting. But yeah, he ends up going into this place where he gets really good rate for it. But ends up finding out that this whole apartment complex houses, along with humans, yokai, monsters, ghosts, demons, all walks and natures of life and whatnot. But while you're doing it, so basically when it first sets it up, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is going to be a slice of life, essentially, because it's going to be about his daily life coping with the fact that he's living with monsters or whatever, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And I thought it was going to be, in that respect, comedic, because it kind of set itself up to be that way. It's kind of in a comedic sense kind of thing. But it took such a surprising turn. Now, you know of one of them. When I was saying one of them is because eventually when he moves to the dormitory, he's unpacking. And two of the human people who live there come to greet him and everything. And the girl starts helping him unpack. And it isn't until she opens something up that she stops. And it isn't until after she stops and it cuts away and you realize they're two plaques.
Yeah.
The signifying of the dead. And it's usually what in Japan, their culture of creating a shrine. It's what you pray to on kind of a daily or weekly basis or something like that. And that's when she realized, and that's when you realize, I think, as a viewer, that his parents had died, that he was living with his uncle. His uncle's daughter didn't appreciate the fact that he was there taking up space, taking money, taking time away from her. She's anyways. Didn't like her as a character, but I think that was intentional as far as that goes. But I was like, okay, a little bit of a dark thing going on here, but I still kind of gave it the benefit of the doubt as far as that goes. Until I watched the next episode, or it was either the next episode or the episode after that. This gets dark because he comes across a boy. And in the beginning, I'm sure you saw him in the first episode, a boy and his dog.
Yeah, the boy and his dog.
You remember that?
Yeah, the boy and his dog was the one who showed him the apartment, and then they were also watching TV. When he was walking around.
Well, you end up finding out, and I think you're going to get like little snippets of stories here with this as you go along. You end up finding out that the boy is a ghost because his history is quite... The mother apparently wanted to have him in order to keep her boyfriend and potentially marry. She has him and boyfriend still leaves. She blames him for it. Dejects him and basically is just abusive towards him. The only friend that he ends up having is this dog. And at some point, the mother just becomes just absolutely crazy and actually starts beating the child and beats the child basically to death. Dog comes across, sees this, and actually attacks the lady, mortally wounding her, but not before the lady could actually basically beat the ever-loving crap out of the dog and basically kills the dog too. So now that's the reason why you have the boy and the dog together, companions with each other, but they're both dead, unfortunately. And it's because of the mother. And then the mother ended up dying, and she became basically a wandering spirit, and she tried to come after the boy, the ghost of the boy and the dog, but the dog, I guess, appeased to the dog gods, their wolf ancestors or whatever, and was taken to a shrine in order for protection. But in order for the child to still have some sort of contact and not just be surrounded by wolf beings or essentially whatever, that's why he was taken to the apartment complex. But every once in a while, the mother will still try to come back and take the boy. But there's a barrier set up around the apartment complex. But
so as long as he's there, he's fine? Or
as long as he's there, he's fine.
Okay.
But usually the wolf mother, essentially, that actually took him into the shrine in the first place and then gave him to the apartment complex, will know ahead of time that she's going to come by. So when she'll stop by and basically stand guard and make sure nothing happens. That's so, like, to me, like, I had one way of thinking about this show and how it was going to go and how it was going to interact, and it just went like a completely different direction. I was just like, holy crap, this show came out of nowhere. And again, this is another one I think that a lot of people are kind of not paying too much attention to. And you know, from the first episode, you probably wouldn't necessarily think too much of it to a certain extent. But beyond that, go 2 or 3 episodes into it, it will blow your mind. It definitely went beyond the expectations that I had originally thought of taking it as.
Yeah, that kind of made me sad for a second. I was
wow. I was like, holy crap. And now I'm like, okay, everyone here has got to have a story or something going on with them.
Yeah.
And we might like be a part of that now as it's going along. And even the guy apparently has an innate ability. He actually has a psychic ability. Okay. And the longer he is there, the more it is developing. Okay. Because now he is pushing himself into that. And I won't go into detail about what happened with that because there was something specific that happened with that. So far, but yeah, it's just crazy. I highly, highly recommend this, and it's going to be something that, you know, again, don't try. You're going to think of it one way, it's going to throw you off guard a completely different way. It's so totally just off the wall and just wow.
There was one part where I thought I was going with the flow of the story, but they kind of changed it up on me when the girl that he met when he first moved into the apartment went to work at the hospital, and then when she came back, there was like a zombie following her, and she thought it would just go away, but then it kept like following her and actually got to the apartment. And at first, I thought it was another resident because the dude was freaking out, and I'm like, oh, he's just surprised at everything. And then she's like, man, you're still following me? And I thought should have been like, Paul, cut it out. You're being silly. But then she like just purified him and said he was evil. And I'm like, oh, there's actually a threat in this show? I thought it was like a slice of life comedy.
Yeah.
And now that you explained like what happened with the kid and everything, I'm like, wow. So yeah, I may be checking the rest of this out.
Yeah. And then like even his, at one point he was trying to keep his friends that he had made in school from the apartment complex because he was like, I don't want anyone else to be involved in this. I don't want to ask any questions. This is all too weird for me. I just keep that away. He ends up showing up with his buddies and starts causing a ruckus. And then the guys at the that were playing shogi, they stand up, and you're like, oh. Okay.
Oh, that dark room with only evil eyes you can see?
They started making enough of a ruckus that they stood up and were like, you need to leave. And it just freaked them the
That is cool.
Yeah.
All
no,
right.
There is a lot of like the way you think of it in one way and it totally blindsides you in another. And like the more you look into it, the more you see that there is so much more lore and backstory involved with the creation of this complex, who these people are, where they come from, and just everything. And it just blows my mind, and I keep wanting to see more to find out. But again, there's another one where it's like the more you know, the more questions that come up, and you're like, okay, well, now why are they doing this? And then how did he do this? And where is this coming from? And, so
Yeah.
all in all, yes, highly recommend this one.
Okay. All right. Well, that is our 11 shows for this season. We will talk about the conclusions of these in 2 months. But next month we'll be talking about the fall season, which shows will be starting then.
Already.
Yeah. So
Lord.
yeah. So as always, you can contact us on Facebook and Twitter at Takoyaki Anime. This has been Big D and Shade again with our summer season of 20 anime. Summer season of 2017 anime first impression. And we will be back at the end of next month. So we will see y'all next time. Bye! There's a few that I really wanted to say but didn't get around to, but I will get back to them one day.
And we haven't. I'm going to ignore that because we haven't heard that. Like, I gotta watch it. I gotta see what's going on. I gotta see what the hype is and everything. And just wow, this is an amazing show.